from trade to education to regional security, international law, and health. As we strengthen our relationship across these issues and in terms of the ties between our peoples, we continue to emphasize to the government of Vietnam that progress on human rights is critical for our relationship to reach its fullest potential. Let me begin by noting a few of the positive things that have happened on the human rights front in Vietnam, and then I'll talk about the ongoing challenges that we have. We have seen a decrease over the past several years in the number of political prisoners, from approximately 160 to about 90 today. We remain committed to encouraging this downward trend until there are no more prisoners of conscience in Vietnam. We have also seen a little bit of progress on religious freedom. For those of you who don't know, Vietnam has adopted a new law on religion and belief that has relaxed a little bit the registration and approval requirements and shortened the waiting period for recognition of religious groups. However, a number of religious groups, including some of you who are here today, the Cao Dai group, some of the Buddhist groups, also continue to suffer interference with their right to practice religion. The real question here in terms of this new law will be its implementation. And one of our priorities for the upcoming Human Rights Act will be to press the government of Vietnam for full and effective implementation of this new law, including through the issuance of regulations. We have also seen some progress in Vietnam's support for the human rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex persons, LGBTI persons, including through revision of the penal code to enable human rights protections for them. There have been a number of celebrations of the rights of these groups, including through a pride walk that recently took place in Ho Chi Minh City, vital setbacks. We're particularly concerned this past year with harassment and arrests of individuals peacefully expressing their views or simply practicing their religion. Last year, for instance, we saw the arrest of at least 6 peaceful activists, including blogger Nguyen Ngoc Nho Nguyen, or Mother Mushroom, as she is commonly known. She was arrested last October for writing about her concerns over human rights abuses, the degradation of the environment, and corruption, and has still not received her day in court. You probably saw recently that First Lady Melania Trump and Undersecretary of State Tom Shannon awarded Mother Mushroom the International Woman of Courage Award this past March, though she was not able to come to Washington to receive it. I should note that she was the only awardee of this award who was not able to receive the award in person, which was deeply troubling to us. This year, we've also seen the arrest of 8 peaceful activists. We also continue to receive reports of harassment and temporary detention of a wide range of human rights defenders, including youth and bloggers seeking to raise awareness about environmental justice in the wake of the tragic Formosa toxic waste spill last year. And let me just note here that I know a number of you participated in an event yesterday to discuss the Formosa incident and how to respond to it. I think this is a very, very important event in the history of Vietnam and provides an opportunity for people here, but also for Vietnamese inside Vietnam, to press for progress on human rights in a number of different ways. Of course, we remain concerned about a number of prisoners of conscience in Vietnam. People like Pastor Nguyen Cong Chin, imprisoned for his beliefs since 2012, lawyer Nguyen Van Dai, who has been allegedly beaten and and is still detained without a trial yet. He's been detained since 2015. I should note that I have met with him on 2 occasions on my visits to Vietnam. Each time I am so impressed by his courage and willingness to speak out despite the consequences. And we continue to press the government of Vietnam to release him. And lastly, Tran An Kim, who is serving a very harsh 13-year sentence, only for his advocacy of democracy. At the upcoming Human Rights Dialogue, the U.S. government will repeat our call for the release of all prisoners of conscience in Vietnam. And we will call on the Vietnamese government to allow all individuals to freely express their political views, both online and offline, without fear of retribution. We will also continue to call on Vietnam to eliminate the very vague national security laws under which many of these arrests and convictions take place. Another concerning development on human rights in Vietnam over the past year has been the intensification of the government's efforts to restrict material on the internet, in particular as YouTube and Facebook, which the government deems as toxic or politically sensitive. Vietnam's vibrant and open social media community, with 48 million users on Facebook alone, is a great asset to Vietnam's economy and a driver for innovation, not a threat to stability. We hope the Vietnamese government will take measures to increase freedom of expression on the internet, not to censor it. We also recognize that despite some promising elements in the new religion law, the government's treatment of religious groups continues to vary widely from region to region. Restrictions are especially severe for those in regions with high percentages of ethnic minorities, including in the Northwest and Central Highlands, and in parts of the Mekong Delta. We still see reports of harassment and detention of religious leaders and their followers. And so, at our upcoming Human Rights Dialogue, we will also call on the Vietnamese government to protect the religious freedom of all of its citizens, including for members of both registered and unregistered religious groups. Perhaps the most important trend I want to discuss relates to Vietnam's ongoing legal reform efforts, intended to bring its laws in line with its 2013 Constitution and its international human rights commitments. We have been encouraged by Vietnam's commitment to make these reforms, including its decision to sign human rights treaties such as the UN Convention Against Torture and the Convention on the Rights of People. Human rights defenders in Vietnam have long urged the government to help the government of Vietnam implement structural reforms to bring its laws in line with international standards, to make its criminal justice system more transparent, to ensure its labor laws ensure fundamental rights, and to strengthen governance and accountability. And we stand ready to work with the government on these issues. But I should note that the reform effort is going much more slowly than we would like. We ask you for your continued support in this effort. The insights, recommendations, and updates that committed human rights advocates like you all provide to us help support a strong, prosperous, and independent Vietnam that will promote human rights and the rule of law. Such a Vietnam will best contribute to regional peace and stability, enabling the Vietnamese people to reach their fullest potential and strengthening Vietnam as a U.S. partner. Let me conclude here by acknowledging Dr. Quan and the invaluable role he has played in advancing human rights in Vietnam, including by helping to establish this day. I should note he's a trusted advisor of mine as well. Always when my phone shows a 703 number, more often than not, it's Dr. Quan calling me to alert me to a new development that I should be paying attention to. Dr. Quan has told me that he is threatening to retire after today's event. He may say that that's what he intends to do, but something tells me that he will continue to be involved in these important issues. And even if his participation diminishes, Dr. Quan's legacy will continue to be felt by all of us working to advance human rights in Vietnam. So let me conclude by thanking you, Dr. Quan, for all of your efforts to help us in the U.S. government and to help the people of Vietnam realize their human rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Busby, for your informative remarks. If you could please remain up here for a little bit longer, I'd like to invite Dr. Nguyen and Mr. Dave Nguyen to present you with a plaque.
Present to Scott Busby, Deputy Assistant Secretary, Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, U.S. Department of State. His appreciation